My name is Doc. I'm one of the founders of the Hood Collective, and today I'm answering the question, how do you market your dispensary in 2026? The cannabis space, especially the retail space, is highly competitive. I'm sure you already know this, that's why you're watching this video, and I'm going to give you some quick tips on how to, market yourself effectively and hopefully within a reasonable budget. Number one is you need to choose your platform wisely. As you probably already know, you have a lot of options for your CRM, and there's a lot of different kind of niches in terms of platforms that you could be choosing. Sometimes you're going to need 2 or 3 because one platform may not do everything that you need. But what I'm talking about is who is doing your e-commerce, who is doing your POS, who is doing your CRM, customer management, like inventory management, all of those things. Are you doing it with a single platform, or are you doing it with 2 or 3? You need to be really smart about that, because I talk to so many retailers and they are just kind of cycling through the different platforms because they tried one because it was cheaper than the other one, or it was newer and they kind of sold them on how great it was going to be, and then it wasn't. There's a lot of buyer's remorse with these platforms. And I'm not here to tell you which one is the best one, because I've heard negative things about all of them. But what you need to do is which one is the right one for what you need it for, and pick that one. So whether you're going with Dutchie, whether you're going with Alpine IQ, whether you're going with Spring Big, whether, Jane, there's all these different options, and some of those are doing different things, like I said. What you want to do is really do your research, pick out the one that has what you need. Don't get excited, caught up in all of the features, like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do, it's going to do my email, it's going to do my SMS, it's going to do, my loyalty program, it's going to do, all those things are good things. But often they have a features list that's 20 to 30 items deep, right? And how many items are you really going to be using? There's the 3 or 4 core things that you're going to do, and then you're going to like, oh, if I can do this, if I can do my email and loyalty program through this system, that's going to be really important. Whatever those core features are, identify those up front. Talk to a bunch of different ones and talk to them. Don't just let them make their sales pitch and that's it. Like, really dig in and challenge them and ask questions, and talk to other people that, if you know other retailers that are using some of these platforms, talk to them about it. If you know bud tenders, at different retailers, ask them about what their experience is with these different platforms. But really do your research and really pick the one that's going to work. I would caution you, don't go for the new cheap option. Because even if it's able to do the things they say that it can do, it's going to have a lot of hiccups and problems and wrinkles to iron out, and it's going to be a challenge, and you're going to hopefully they're going to be responsive, but it's going to, hey, why can't I do it? Like, oh yeah, we haven't added that, we'll get to it as soon as possible. And I've gone on too long. Just do your research, pick out the one that's going to do what you need it to do, and figure out how to do it and use it well. Which brings me to the next important point, is that when you're marketing your shop, there's a lot of different options you can choose from. And I don't just mean with the platforms. I mean, you can be doing social media, you can be doing events, you can be doing mailers, you can have a billboard, you can have sandwich boards, you can have all kinds of signage around town. You can be doing email, loyalty program, SMS, geofencing. The list goes on and on. And I get a sense from a lot of people that are reaching out to us, like, I'll give you a very good example. They're coming to us and say, oh, we need help with our social media. Our social media sucks, we're not very good at it. I'm seeing, competitor A and B, they're doing really well on social media, we want that. And then we tell them what it's going to entail, we give them a price, and sometimes they're like, oh, okay, we trust you, and they do it, and and then it's like pulling teeth to get what we need from them. And it's like, hey, here are some scripts that you can do, get your budget. And it's like everyone within in the organization is like hates social media, and they're only doing it because they think they should and that it's the right thing to do and they need it, even though they don't like it. And then it's like, you're just wasting money, like I tell them usually, hey, don't do it. Don't hire us, don't hire anyone. Because if you don't like social media and if it's not built into your organization, then you're never going to do as well as the ones that do. And it's not a really good generator of business anyway. And so the lesson is, pick the marketing avenues that fit your brand and fit your personality, and lean into one isn't probably enough, but like 2 or 3, very specific avenues of how you're going to market. I usually point to, in general, knowing nothing about someone's business, I would say you want to lean into SEO and you want to lean into email and loyalty program. Those are the 2 that I'm most likely to recommend. I rarely recommend social, but there are some shops that do really well in social because they're really into it, whether it's the owner or the manager or the social media manager, whoever it is. They really love social media and they hire people to be butt tenders that like doing social media and they like being on camera and they like performing TikTok dances or doing funny skits. Then it makes sense, and you're gonna do much better on social media than the other shop that doesn't like social media. And so that is all to say, find the avenues that make the most sense for you and focus on those 2 or 3 options, rather than trying to do everything. Another really important point that I like to make is, focus locally. Unless you are a statewide brand with multiple shops, you're a local shop. Even if you have 2 or 3, each one of those is a local neighborhood, this is my area shop, and your marketing should be targeted in those areas. That means billboards and out-of-home advertising is very, useful. Signs in your neighborhood, mailers in your neighborhood if it's allowed, handouts, posters, papery, like any of the things, if you're allowed to do it, that's great. Events is a really good one, hosting local events, partnerships with other, businesses in the area. What can you do to market to the people in your area? For a really good example of what to do versus what not to do is, you could hire a famous celebrity, Snoop Dogg, let's say, to come to your shop. That's going to get a lot of people to your shop, but you're paying a national celebrity a national price to come to your shop. It's going to be very, very expensive. Whereas you could pay a local celebrity way less to come do the same thing. And, probably be, if not 100% as effective, nearly as effective. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck, because you're paying less for someone that, is really well known in your city, in your state. And so that's just one example of think local, and use local advertising platforms, local advertising channels. When you're advertising on social media, if we were able to do paid ads, you could do it hyper locally, but you're not. And so you're doing social media that goes out to everyone, and it's hard to focus on just your core neighborhood audience. Maybe going to Nextdoor might make more sense. Nextdoor, the social media app, but maybe not, because it's kind of a dying app, but that is the kind of mindset you want to have. What can I be doing at a local level to advertise and therefore pay a local price? Going to the local, events, even if they're not cannabis events, makes a lot of sense. And the last point I want to make for dispensary marketing is brand is how you differentiate, and why someone would choose yours versus the shop down the street, or why they might drive slightly out of their way or even well out of their way to go to yours as opposed to somewhere else, is because they like the experience, and that means you have created a brand. And so really understanding what that means, what is the experience you're creating in your shop, and how are you reinforcing it with every bit of your marketing. Like, this is what you can expect. If you are, focused on young professionals, your branding and style and vibe is going to be very different than if you're in a university town focusing on college students, versus if you're in a suburban neighborhood focusing on house moms, et cetera, et cetera. Knowing, who your core audience is and how can you present yourself and brand yourself in a way that's going to appeal directly to that core audience. And the best advice I can give is, if you are leaning hard into those cannabis cliches that we all know all so well, and you have 420 in your name, and you have the, psychedelic pot leaf or the melting face, whatever, like if you're like kind of leaning into those cannabis cliches and you're just kind of targeting that kind of hardcore consumer that maybe you were used to in the legacy, market before it went legal, then you're going for a very narrow band of the market, when a lot of other people are also focused on that same, demographic. And so you're competing for a small piece of the pie, and just leaving like this much bigger, slice to only a few others to chase after. It's probably a very bad analogy, but I hope that you get my point. Identify who your audience is and make sure that your branding targets them specifically. And do not think, oh, I want to target everyone, And if you want to target everyone, then that is kind of like you want to be the 7-Eleven or the Walmart of weed, and that's a very specific branding too. I think that, for some people, maybe that is the right direction to go. But I think for a lot of you, like, that's not what you got into this industry for, and that doesn't fit what you want. Totally get that, but you want to figure out who it is that you want to go after and really lean into that with, every bit of your marketing and branding. So I hope that helps as you think about how to market your dispensary in 2026. If you have any questions, I'd love to chat with you and discuss. It's easy to get a hold of me. You can leave a comment here. You can reach out to us through our website. But I look forward to hearing from you and hopefully see you again soon.